Hello everyone, and welcome back to the first in Weasels over Syria campaign for the F-16 and DCS world, and welcome to Mission 9, Operation Talon Red. In this mission, we are going to try and do a rescue operation of that downed pilot that went down in the last episode. So we know his location, we have waited until the cover of darkness, and the Joint Task Force is sending out a massive combined mission to bring this pilot home. So where we left him last time, he was being approached by a large column of Syrian armour, and he was well within enemy territory. Since then, he has been trying to make his way northeast to get a little bit closer to friendly lines, but he's still far behind the enemy and in an area that has not been cleaned of its air defence, so there is a lot of threat in the air. At the same time, the Syrians are still running aircraft, and so we've got a lot on our plates. Our idea is, as normal, we are going in as the SEAD protection here, aim to put down any air defence that might threaten the other flights. We do have electronic warfare support from Spartan, as normal. There are also strike packages going in. B-52s are coming in to bomb local garrisons to keep them pinned in, and Strike Eagles are coming in to take out the armoured column that was approaching from the south. We also have Cap up in the form of Renegade 1 and Renegade 2, who will be doing bar cap to the south, making sure no Syrians can get near us. And the actual operation will be carried out by Sandy, a pair of Black Hawks who are being escorted by a pair of Apaches. Now, at the end of the last one, we had to land in Turkey, so we are taking off at a different airfield here. We are joining most of the rest of the flights coming in, but we are going to rendezvous with the rest of Sword Flight, who will be going in first. Meanwhile, we will be refueling at a tanker, keeping our fuels topped up, with the idea that after the mission we'll be returning to H4, nice, safe and sound at home. So anyway, big mission, let's jump in and see how it goes.
Sentinel, Sword 2 airborne on mission 1084, approaching the goal corridor.
Copy, Sword 2, you are clear to win the goal, Angels 2-3.
Angels 2-3, Sword 2-1. Head on a swivel rotor, busy airspace up here.
Sword 2-2.
So that was Inserlick.
Yeah, that was it. Shame we couldn't stay. I would have loved to get into the city.
I think we've got more pressing matters at hand, Rotor.
I know. I'm just kidding around. That pilot must be going through hell on the ground.
I hope not, but it can't be good down there. Syria school is bad enough, but at least you knew deep down you were getting out of it.
Oh man, but to do it for real? In Syria of all places? With all the shit going on down there? Not a good place to be in.
Well, that's why we don't leave people behind. We'll get him back.
Amen to that, Forrest. Ooh, now it's blowing on goggles for a while. Taking some getting used to again. I hate these things.
Me neither, but they at least make it easier to see SAM launches.
True enough. Probably gonna need them. Sounds like the Syrians are bringing a lot of toys to the party.
They seem pretty keen to stop us, all right.
Doesn't look like either side's backing down.
Lambs to the slaughter, then.
I really hope you're not referring to us, Forrest.
Okay, Rotor. Tanker track is ahead. Let's make contact with Texaco, switch on uniform.
Two set.
Texaco, Sword 2-1, request rejoin.
Sword 2-1, Texaco. Switching code Angels 20, 1 mile trail.
Sword 2-1.
Sword 2, Sword 3.
Go ahead, Sword 3.
How How you boys doing? Enjoy Interlake. I hope you're well rested.
Wish we had the chance, but we're good to go.
Okay, good then. Once the bug's finished on the tanker, we'll get gas first. We'll then push into Sierra with the initial wave. While we're gone, hang on the tanker and keep your tanks full. Be ready to relieve us when we make the call.
Copy all.
Now, instead of actually making you wait around for the hour or so that the mission has you on station for, the mission very nicely puts a break in there, and then you start again once you are being called in, so we jump ahead a little bit in time.
Sword 2, Sword 3. We're approaching Bingo. We'll need to leave for gas in the next 10 minutes.
Copy Sword 3. Sword 2 is pushing south. Texaco, Sword 2 is departing.
Copy, Sword 2. Good hunting.
2, we're pushing south.
So here I'm just setting up my ordnance to get ready. The disadvantage of having a cut midway through is that you can't get your weapons set up on the flight over as I normally would. Instead, you've got to do them here. They do provide an active pause when you first load into the second part, so you do have time to do this. I decided just to do it while I was on the way south here. For this mission, what I have is a pair of CBU-105, the wind-compensated GPS CBUs that we've used before, and a single 2,000-pound JDAM bomb. My wingman rotor, on the other hand, has a pair of harms, and as normal, we've got the normal pods and fuel.
Sentinel, Sword 2's inbound mission area to relieve Sword 3. Request words.
Copy Sword 2, proceed to Angels 17. Be advised of heavy traffic on your route. Archangel TOT is in 30 mics. Strike TOT is 25 mics from now. That team is standing by for detailed lowdown.
Copy Sentinel. Angels 1-7. Sword 2 out. 2, switch vacuum on uniform. Vacuum, Sword 2-1. Request lowdown Sierra.
Sword 2-1 vacuum. Stand by, lowdown Sierra. Lowdown Sierra. 628 balls, 248 for 22 tight. 11 asleep, balls, 171 for 26 tight. 6 asleep, balls, 276 for 22 tight. 6 asleep, balls, 207 for 23 loose. 6 asleep, balls, 205 for 25 loose. Sleeping emitters have been turning radars on and off for short periods over the last hour.
Copy all vacuum. Sword 2-1 out.
Good look, Sword 2. Getting back.
We'll go.
So I do just spend a bit of time here putting all of those markers onto the map so that I know where these roughly are.
Okay then, only one SAM emitting, but another 4 that may come online at any time. A lot of threats down there.
Copy 2. Looks like we've got a busy night ahead of us. Vents in.
We'll go.
So using the HTS, I do get a rough location of the single active SA-6 that is in the area. I then track in with it, do spot it on the night vision mode of the TGP, zoom in and can nicely see the radar rotating there. So I lock that in as my target point and head in and decide to go for a cluster bomb strike on this. Since we're told in the briefing the cluster bombs are specifically on our planes to do as much damage to these sites as possible, ideally taking out the entire site, not just the radar.
Sword 3, Sword 2 approaching your position.
Copy, Sword 2. Ready for sit rep?
Send it, tank.
We've killed an SA-8 and doggy up here north of here. Still one active SA-6 to the south. We're Winchester harms and we don't have the gas to push in closer. Our harms got the other radars to shut down. Since then we've only seen a few radars come up for around 30 seconds and then shut down. But not enough time to really pin them down. Syrians keep shooting their AAA off. I think we got them mad for you.
Well, okay then. Copy all. We'll take it from here.
Copy, Forrest. We're going for gas. Good hunting.
Sort 2 is on station. Proceeding with mission.
Copy, Sort 2. Clear to proceed. Okay, Forrest. Still just the one cannonball active. Arms are ready when you want them.
Counter.
Now, as I'm approaching this one, I do start to get locked up, but there is no launch immediately, so I decide to push my luck, try and get in close enough to drop the bomb, do reach max distance, and pickle one away, and then immediately turn to evade. Now, I am being very calm here. I'm not really considering the site to be as much of a threat as it really kind of is, so I'm nice and relaxed. And then they decide to actually fire.
Fan launch. SA-6. Bull 248 for 22.
So I deploy countermeasures, start turning hard, and can see on the TGP that get a nice view of the missiles being sent up towards me, and so I'm in a wee bit of danger here. Doing my best to try and notch the lock, but I've got a little bit lost in situational awareness, put on my night vision goggles and see the nice bloom of the missile heading straight at me. The first one there does take the chaff as I turn hard, but I've got another one heading in. So I invert, pull as hard as I possibly can, continuously dumping chaff, and do manage to break that one off of me.
SA-6, Bulls 248 for 22, has shut down.
So during all of that, my bomb did hit home and did enough damage to the site to take it out of action. I do just climb and get out of there, just in case anything else wants to have a go at me, before turning to try and get visual ID on the targets.
SA-6, Bulls 248 for 22 is offline.
After a little bit of manoeuvring to get a view from beyond the cloud, which got right in the way, do finally get eyes on the site here. As I look into it, I can see 2 destroyed Talon launchers. The radar has shut down, is no longer recording, so is either too damaged to respond or has been intimidated into shutting down, which they do on this campaign. Did not get a direct hit where I hoped to get the hit. Instead, this does seem to have dropped a little bit far, which is something that we'll see again later. The cluster bombs still seem to be a little bit iffy on the F-16 for some reason, or maybe I'm just doing something very wrong here.
New contact. Mud 6, Bulls 276 for 22.
So more sites here do start to come online. At first I try and probe towards the last known location of the SA-11, since that's the longest range threat in the area.
New contact. Mud 11, Bulls 171 for 26.
So I do get close to the SA-11 and then decide to start turning away. I don't want to be directly overhead of it when it turns on. As I turn away, it does then turn on here, and so I have to turn around and start finding it. Now, I ideally don't want to fly overhead of the SA-11, it really can mess me up, so I'd prefer it if my wingman did the harm shot.
SA-11, Bulls 171 for 26.
Copy. 2 engaging. Sword 22 Magnum, SA-11, Bulls 171 for 26. SA-11 is shut down.
So there the SA-11 shuts down, which makes me think that maybe I should go in for a bomb run instead while it's offline. Do have an approximate location from the HTS from when it was up. And sure enough, doesn't take too much searching before I see the heat signature and then find the snowdrift radar, the really tall one, which is the long-range radar, and that's what I want to take out. And so lock that up and head in. Then with it locked up, and I did laser range it to make sure that I had the correct range, I then fly over the target and drop as the Pipper drops down. And then again turn away and go evasive. I do turn around just in time to get a TGP view of the site, just as the clusters are going in, and unfortunately once again they're all hitting too far north of where they're supposed to. I'm not sure if this is the clusters doing anything weird, if I've messed something up, or if it's just that there is such high wind that although the actual dispenser itself is wind corrected, the little sub-munitions that fly off might be getting caught by the wind a lot more than I expected, and so getting drifted off. Either way, I do take out some SA-11 launchers, but the snowdrift radar is still on. Either way, I decide that I am just going to pull out at that point. I'm down to one 2,000-pound bomb. I don't want to waste it trying to take this site out, I want to keep it for an emergency.
We've got AAA in our sector, clearing it out.
The SA-11's not done with us, it does come back online as we pull out.
SA-11, back up. Bulls, 171 for 26.
And I order Rotor to engage it with his last harm.
CO1 approaching target area, commencing attack.
Sword 2-2 engage, SA-11, Bulls, 171 for 26.
Copy, 2 engaging. Delta 1 approaching target area. Seminole, Fair 1, Red 6 in our target area, requesting support. Copy, Fair 1-1. Sword 2-1 engage, F-16, clear the AO out.
Sword 2-1.
Sword 2-2 Magnum, SA-11, Bulls, 171 for 26. Sword 2-2 Winchester.
So there, the B-52s are nervous that there is an SA-6 near their target, and so good thing I did save at least one bomb for that, so start heading towards it, try and locate it. And do manage to find it quite quickly, get it all locked up. Now I'm down to my JDAM bomb, and at this point I'm just hoping that is more accurate than the cluster bomb. Get some bad news as I'm on my way.
SA-11, Bulls, 171 for 26 is off the air.
So that's both harms wasted. Now the SA-11's really nervous and just turning off very, very quickly. I think I really need to remain in the area and be bait if I want to keep the radars online, which I don't really want to do with an SA-11. With the JDAM I do make a point of making sure that I am right in the middle of the weapon employment zone and nicely lined up, and then drop it, and again then immediately turn away. Now this SA-6 site does lock me again, but this time there are no launchers, so I'm quite happy just to stay in the area messing around with it, get a nice view as the bomb comes in, and nicely enough this time it is a direct shack.
SA-6, Bulls, 276 for 22 is offline.
Now I am completely Winchester, so is my wingman, but we remain in the area because if nothing else we can act as Weasels, be bait for any SAMs, and we do get a nice call before long.
Farewell, mission complete, egressing north.
Now the Eagle strike package is still on its way, and there are still SA-6s near its target, so I do just try and annoy them. Unfortunately I annoy them a little bit too much.
Camel 1, target destroyed, egressing north. Missile launch, SA-6, south of waypoint 4.
This time I'm right at the end of its engagement range, so just turn, notch it, and lose the lock really easily. I do hit the countermeasures button, which does auto drop the last of my flares unfortunately, but I do still have chaff and still have my jammer.
New contact, Mud 6, Bulls, 205 for 25.
Sentinel, Archangel 1 is inbound on LZ. 60 seconds. Sentinel, Archangel 1 has secured the package. We are aggressing north.
So we got a guy, but the mission's not yet over.
This is Sandy 1. We have a signal flare, approximately 10 miles southwest of the pickup zone. Stand by. Sentinel, Sandy 1. I have the missing tornado nav on the radio. He's alive and well 10 miles to the south of the pickup site. He is staying dark, but he broke cover when he heard the rescue bird. We can secure his position. Request Archangel 2 turn south of the pickup.
Copy, Sandy 1. Store 2 is opposition clear of SAM threat.
Sentinel, we still have an SA-6 active in that area. We can suppress and cover Sandy and Archangel for the pickup.
Copy, Store 2. Sandy 1, Archangel 2, you are clear to proceed.
Sandy 1, copy.
Archangel 2 turning south, 10 miles to pickup.
Damn, Forrest. Looks like he made it out after all. But that flare is gonna bring the world crashing down on him.
Copy 2. Let's get back to work.
So, good news, the co-pilot made it out alive. Bad news is I am still Winchester, running low on chaff, not great fuel state, and there's still an SA-6 really quite close. There's actually a pair of SA-6 sites really quite close, and so I am gonna have to be bait again.
Archangel 2, 2 miles to LZ.
This is Sandy 1. Talon a force of infantry supported by BTRs approaching the navigator's position. Sandy 1 is setting up for an attack run. Archangel 2, hold short till I clear you in.
Copy.
Just trying to linger right on the edge of the 6's weapon employment zone just to tease them into targeting me instead of the helicopters. Unfortunately, there is only so long that I can tease these SA-6 sites before they finally decide to open up, and when they do open up, they open up with a lot.
Missile launch, SA-6, south of waypoint 4.
And so I figured that because I'm at relatively low altitude, my best bet here is just to terrain mask, just dive to the deck. If nothing else, there is a village down below me, so I can hide on the far side of the buildings there. That should break the lock. And mostly as I do dive there, I do see the flashes as those missiles start to as they lose lock or head too close to the ground, and that's a good thing too because I count 4 smoke pillars from that pair of sites there, so a lot of missiles were fired at me. But that's kind of my job in this situation. As I'm bumbling about continuing to try and annoy SA-6 sites without being shot down, I do actually spot the armoured column here that the previous call-out was about. And so I decide, well, it looks like a pretty soft target. I'm not completely Winchester, I do have a gun, so why not? So I select gun, roll over, head in, and let out a burst, but as I do, lots of explosions happen as the Apaches actually finally get their rockets off.
Infantry force is backing off. Archangel, you're clear for extract.
Copy. Archangel 2 is clear. Package is secure and in good shape. Egressing north. All flights withdraw north immediately.
All right, we got him.
So there we go, mission complete, and now it's just a case of RTBing back to H4 where we belong.
Sentinel, Sword 2 is clear of Sierra. It is RTB. What's our picture?
Store 2, you have clear skies ahead. Syrian air is keeping out the way tonight. Clear to proceed.
Copy, Sentinel. Sword 2 out.
Oh man, that was intense.
Certainly was, Rotor. Tank, Bug, you up?
We're here. You boys okay?
Affirm. We're still in one piece.
But that's a mission I'm gonna remember for a long time.
What was good work back there. I'm glad we could bring that power back home.
And grabbing the second crew member as well. That was an unexpected turn.
For sure. Outstanding work. Wasn't like we planned for that to happen.
Well, he sure left it late before letting us know he was down there.
Probably didn't want to use the radio. Afraid of the comms being intercepted.
Played it smart. Only broke cover and made contact when he heard the Blackhawks.
And he just got away with it. He knew we'd all have his back.
Well, regardless of anything that happened, the Syrians showed us today that they still got a lot of fight in them yet.
And a lot of SAM systems still.
Copy that, Rotor. Guess I'll work out of here so I have some time to run.
So yeah, we managed to RTB without too much trouble, although as you can see here in the background as I'm coming in, there is a hell of a lot of crosswind, and I do go and completely mess up this landing. There's a lot of crosswind to the left, and on top of that, the game lags a little bit just as I'm trying to line up, throws me off just enough that I end up not on the runway, which isn't ideal. I prefer to finish on the runway, but I do manage to get it back. It doesn't tip or anything, it just has a bit of a sandy landing and is going to need some cleaning afterwards. Yeah, that was a pretty successful mission all in all. So my cluster bombs did not do what they were meant to do. As I said, they seemed to be landing a little far north. That might be this wind that is dragging them over, or it might be the issue I was having with the dumbfire cluster bombs may be the same. I'll need to keep that in mind going forward. But I did get a fair few kills there, so my first cluster bomb did get 2 SA-6 sites that were completely, 2 of the launchers was completely knocked out, and that was enough to persuade the radar to turn off. My second cluster bomb did get 1 of the launchers of the SA-11 site, and it turns out that second harm wasn't actually a miss. The second harm did hit the SA-11. I was just assuming when he said it was offline, it meant that it turned off again, but it turned off because it had been hit by an SA-11. And then finally my giant GBU did nicely go and smack that last SA-6 site. So I ended up with a 100% score, which is always very, very nice, and returned without any damage, so very happy with that. And yeah, this campaign is certainly excellent, loving it so far. That was a brilliant mission. I really do like the quality of life feature with adding a effective save by splitting the mission in 2, so that you don't have to take off, go to the tanker and spend an hour by the tanker every time you want to replay the mission. But yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to the next mission. I hope you are. Until then, remember to be kind to yourselves and everyone else. Cheers.